Several MLB players got huge contracts during the offseason of 2022, but next winter, there will reportedly be a deal that will break the bank. John Heyman of the New York Post talked to several agents who thought that Shohei Ohtani, a two-way star for the Los Angeles Angels, will get a bigger contract than his teammate Mike Trout's 12-year, $426.5 million deal when he becomes a free agent in 2023. One agent even said that Ohtani would get the first contract in MLB history worth $500 million. Will Shohei Ohtani, a free agent next offseason, command a $450 million contract? The first offseason under the new collective bargaining agreement between MLB and the MLB Players Association has been, to say the least, interesting. Now that there won't be a strike for at least a few seasons, teams have been giving out huge long-term contracts with shockingly high numbers like it's nothing. The Yankees gave Aaron Judge $360 million. All three shortstops, Trey Turner, Xander Bogaerts, and Carlos Correa, got deals that last at least 11 years. In fact, Correa got two of them after his deal with the Giants fell through because of medicals. We'll see what happens with the Mets. Even as all of that was happening, people in baseball were thinking about what would happen if the Angels couldn't sign Shohei Ohtani to a new contract by the end of the 2023 season. More on that in a moment. What would happen when Ohtani becomes a free agent next offseason? In a recent phone interview, MLB Network analyst Dan O'Dowd, who was GM of the Rockies for 15 years, said, "Honestly, he's the most unique free agent in the history of the game, so it looks like we're all in uncharted territory. We are for sure. Ohtani will likely be the most anticipated, most interesting, and most wanted free agent in baseball history." Ohtani won the AL MVP in 2021 as an elite hitter and pitcher, which had never been done before, and it took a truly historic effort from Aaron Judge to keep him from winning it again in 2022. Ohtani was better in 2022 than he was the year before. He had a combined 9.6 BWAR, 3.4 as a position player, and 6.2 as a pitcher in 2022, compared to a combined 9.0 BWAR, 4.9 as a position player, and 4.1 as a pitcher in 2021. He got the fourth most votes for the AL Cy Young Award. Truly mind-boggling stuff, and it's easy to get off topic when talking about Ohtani and his brilliance. But the question for today is, what will free agency look like for Ohtani next offseason? For starters, it seems like a good deal for the star who will be 29 in July. When you sign one contract, you're paying for two jobs, O'Dowd said. Even if he gets hurt as a pitcher, he can hit and run the bases. And I think he'd be a great corner outfielder in terms of defense. He's just so unique. He's a baseball unicorn in every way you can think of the word. I don't think we can compare his contract to anyone we've talked about so far. First, let's look at the numbers for pitching. Ohtani is about a year and a half younger than Carlos Rodon. Both of them were hurt for most of 2020, but they have been great on the mound the last 2 years. They're pretty close, right? Rodon did better, but not by a huge amount. If Ohtani was just a starting pitcher with those numbers, it's easy to imagine that he'd get a deal like the Yankees' 6-year, $162 million deal with Rodon. This offseason, both Justin Verlander and Jacob deGrom got huge contracts. However, Verlander's age and deGrom's health problems make it hard to compare them to Ohtani, but both deals show how much teams value starters with big swing and miss numbers. And in a bad way? Oh, he's also a great hitter. Because they are shortstops, you can't really compare Ohtani as a designated hitter to the shortstops who signed this offseason. They play a very important defensive position well. So let's just look at where Ohtani ranks as a middle-of-the-order hitter across the sport. In the major leagues over the past 2 years, he is tied for second place in home runs, 80, second place in triples, 14, seventh place in slugging percentage, 554, seventh place in total bases, 622, and eighth place in OPS plus, 152. He's even 18th in stolen bases with 37. He's an all-around great player. Production teams love to add players like that through free agency, especially left-handed bats, in the days after the shift is over. So let's talk about another number, total contract value. The $360 million deal Judge got was the most money ever given to a free agent. Mike Trout, $426.5 million, and Mookie Betts, $365 million, have bigger totals, but they did not sign their contracts on the open market. Instead, they signed extensions. If Ohtani is healthy and does even half as well as he has the past few years, he beats Judge. Where do people stop bidding? At $375 million? Maybe $400 million? There's no reason why Ohtani couldn't be worth more than Trout's total of $426.5 million. And if we're already going so fast that it's ridiculous, why would the bidding stop there? Maybe $400 $150 million. More? Here's the thing though, Ohtani is a unicorn, not just on the field. He is the most marketable superstar in baseball, and he hasn't even started to reach his full potential. There's a reason why the Angels haven't traded him yet, even though it makes perfect baseball sense for them to start a much-needed overhaul of the team with the huge amount of talent he would bring in. There seems to be no limit to how much value 10 to 12 years of Ohtani could bring to a team in terms of money, exposure, or anything else. So, final question, where does Ohtani wind up? Before we can answer that, we need to talk about the Angels. Ohtani's team will do everything they can to keep him in Anaheim for the rest of his career, which is what they should do now that it's clear they don't want to trade him. Still, the smart baseball-only move. He has made it clear that he doesn't like how the Angels keep losing and can't even get close to the playoffs. It seems unlikely that he'll sign another contract with them. This is a big reason why the Angels have been busy this offseason. It's kind of a last push to see if a run to the wild card game changes his mind. Again, seems unlikely. Unlikely, but not impossible. He wants to win, but in the 5 years he has been with the Angels, they haven't even finished at 500. In 2022, the team finished 33 games behind the first-place team in the AL West and 13 games behind the third-place team in the wild card race. Even if the team made the playoffs in 2023, Ohtani knows that wouldn't hide the big problems that are coming up for the team. And for all this to happen when owner Art Moreno is trying to sell, Ohtani will most likely become a free agent. So which teams will be in the discussion? Of course, every team would love to have Ohtani, and most owners could afford it. But the real question is where Ohtani will want to play. He can get a crazy contract with any team, so he can pretty much pick where he wants to play and how much he wants to make. It seems likely that the Mets will be in the running. Maybe the upper levels of the luxury tax should be called the Cohen-Ohtani tax instead of the Steve Cohen tax. Max Scherzer and Justin Verlander, the club's two highest-paid players, both leave after the 2024 season, so there would only be 1 year of overlap. Ohtani has always been someone the Dodgers wanted. The same goes for the Yankees, though Judge and Rodon's long-term deals might make it harder for them to get Ohtani. We know that the Giants have a lot of money burning a hole in their pockets because they tried to sign Judge and Correa to long-term deals this past offseason. They'd have to show a more competitive team than the one that played on the field in 2022. Both the team and the player would like the idea of playing for the Mariners with Julio Rodriguez in the same stadium where Ichiro became a Hall of Famer. Most of the big contracts have gone to teams on the coasts, but Ohtani is the kind of player who would be attractive to any team in the middle of the country. The Cubs come to mind right away, and maybe the White Sox could be persuaded to finally give him a huge contract, but most likely not. Also, don't give up on the Cardinals just yet. They haven't won many bidding wars for free agents, but Ohtani saw how much fun his old teammate Albert Pujols had playing for a contender last summer. The Cardinals are always in the running for a playoff spot. As a bonus, Toronto Blue Jays get Brandon Belt on a 1-year, $9.3 million deal. The Toronto Blue Jays and first baseman Brandon Belt signed a $9.3 million 1-year deal on Tuesday. Belt, who was 34, had played for the San Francisco Giants for the last 12 years. Last year, he could only play in 78 games because he hurt his right knee and had to have surgery. He played his last game on August 20th. He hit .213 with 8 home runs and 23 RBIs. Toronto also got right-handed pitcher Zach Thompson, who is 29 years old, from Pittsburgh in exchange for outfielder Chavez Young, who is 25 and plays in the minor leagues. Belt gives the Blue Jays a left-handed hitter who will probably be used mostly as a designated hitter and as a backup to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. at first base. Belt has hit .261 and gotten on base 356 times in his career. In 2012 and 2014, he led the Giants to victory in the World Series. Thompson was 3-10 with a 5.18 ERA for Pittsburgh last season. He made 22 starts and 7 relief appearances. He was picked up by the Chicago White Sox in 2014, but he didn't play in the major leagues until 2021 when he joined the Miami Marlins. Thompson's career record is 6-17 and his ERA is 4.44. He has made 36 starts and 19 relief appearances. Last year, Young played for Class A Dunedin and Triple-A Buffalo and hit .237 with 6 home runs and 22 RBIs in 70 games. Julian Merriweather and Junior Fernandez, both right-handers, were put on assignment. Yes, it's 2023, and both the Angels and Ohtani are now on the clock. Ohtani's next stop will almost certainly be a big storyline for the whole 2023 season. So what do you think? Where will he land after 2023 wraps up? Let us know in the comments down below. Meanwhile, please like and subscribe to this channel for more videos just like this. See you in the next one.